Bar Rescue updates for Season 5, Episodes 1 and 2. Coming right at you.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
If you get in trouble. Hey, Bar Rescue fans! Keven Undergaro here for another AFTERBUZZ TV after show for Bar Rescue. We're going to cover 2 episodes. The first one quickly, the second one probably more in depth. I'm once again joined by Dorinda Barker.
Hi.
Gabrielle Loren.
Yes, hey guys.
Full panel tonight, so exciting. I really loved the Vegas episode, and
I did too.
I think it was the same reason you said, which is because the renovation was so outstanding.
Oh, it was amazing, actually, the renovation. It's one of my favorite ones, I think, to be honest, because he really captured what I feel like the bar should have looked like if you want to do a homage back to what the bar was when the Rat Pack hung out there.
Well, let's back up a little bit. So it was. I felt that you didn't have a kitchen, right?
No.
And the bar wasn't. We didn't have rats. We didn't have. There wasn't a lot of things to work with, production wise, and which is why we had to have the cutaway to whatever Frank Castellano or whatever. The mobster. What did you think of all?
Consigliere.
Yeah, what did you think of all the cutaways to him just sitting in the stool and talking about?
Talking about holding on to the past.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, though. He was almost like the historian
Yeah.
of Champagne.
Well, it was like a different. I just like the different. Just again, I give credit to John and the producers. John said that they always are trying to mix it up and do things differently. And I think you didn't have a lot to play with there, so a lot of time was taken away with these cutaways of the old mob boss talking about the old days. This owner was super nice, but he didn't seem like a bar owner. He certainly didn't seem like a bar owner to be owning like an ex-mob bar.
No, and if I remember correctly, they were making, was it Manhattans? Yeah, not Manhattans. They were making
It was all those old drinks.
Old fashions.
Godfather,
yeah,
old fashions.
Godfather's old fashions.
Yep.
And when I was watching them make the old fashioned, I was cringing. So I think when the first time they threw like the maraschino cherry sauce in there, and I was like, oh.
They just put all this stuff, it seemed like, in a glass, and they just started muddling, just pounding and smashing, just anything that just was.
resembles.
And again, shout out to John for picking Lisa Marie.
Yeah, it was
couldn't have been more appropriate, right?
No,
in fact,
she was perfect.
When she was lined up, did you notice when she was lined up with all of the bartenders, she just looked like one of them? Like it looked like she tended bar there. Because all the girls were tatted out.
Oh yeah.
With the
in the hair, and they had, I can't remember her name, and please forgive me on this. The one that they had just hired.
Lucky?
The one who they had just hired out of bartending
Autumn?
school. Yeah, Autumn. I think it was Autumn, where it was like her first day. And Bar Rescue shows up.
Yeah.
No, this is like the first girl that's ever been hired out of bartending school, first of all.
I went to bartending school, Gab.
Me too, but I'm just saying, like, it's funny because most of them, in the next episode, in episode 2, you see that they were just self-trained, and most of them are.
Well, unfortunately, I think with pretty, I just say this is going to sound terrible, but with a lot of pretty girls I see.
They just get jobs.
They just get, no, for bartending, they'll just throw them behind the bar. Yeah. And I think a lot of that's been changing because mixology has become such an art now and so respected. But for the most part, they're like, oh, we'll just. Whereas I know for a guy, it was always hard. Oh, you so badly wanted to get a bartending job. But for the girls, it was always like, I knew a lot of friends who were, they just pretty, so they said, no, we'll train, you'll learn on the job,
Oh yeah, that is true. That is true. I know a lot of my girlfriends who bartended who were badass bartenders. Though, by the way, some of the best bartenders I've ever seen in my life were the women, but gorgeous, just drop dead gorgeous, and that's how they got the job. Them being able to bartend 5 people deep is just a nice little bonus, I would think.
The other girl, I thought Lucky, the girl that was the suicide girl, all tatted out. She was
she's so cool.
Yeah, she was the she was like a darker version of Lisa Marie, and I I thought she was going to put up more of a fight, and I was John laid into her, and by the way, rightfully so. But it was cool that that she came around.
Yeah, and I like the fact that she did. Because
Yeah.
I didn't know how that was going to go, actually. But then, as you know, as not, what's the word, as tough as she looked, her interior wasn't as tough
It
as her
wasn't.
exterior.
No, so it was nice, and like I said, it was great with Lisa Marie there. I think she's her and Mia, but she's a great deputy for John.
Oh, yeah.
I like their energy together.
And she's tough. Beautiful and tough.
Yeah.
And she doesn't take anything from anybody. And she knows what she's talking about.
Although it's like, it also goes to the same thing that I always tell like really great hosts. If you're a really great host, you'll make other people around you good.
Yes.
And when I think of so many of those experts, like when I first started watching the show, I would be so infatuated with all of them. Mm-hmm. And I realized it's just John. He brings out the best in all the, but I've still fallen in love with all of them. But yeah, I like them together. But then again, I think of some of the other people like Russell and Phil Wills, and I like when the sheriff has the deputies. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
And with this episode, there wasn't a kitchen, so and the bar wasn't so bad like we've seen.
It was outdated. That's what I felt it was. It was outdated. I didn't feel like anything was really in disrepair.
Right.
It just needed a new splash of something. It was missing something, lacking something. Like the last time they ever, put up wallpaper was when Frank Sinatra was there.
Right. Oh, wait. Yeah, what was it? Well, other than the fact that wallpaper it really caught your eye, but wasn't it not there when, or did they just add more? Well, I forget what it seemed vague, but I didn't know if they had a lot of wallpaper like from the Frank days or if it came later. And by the way, it was a lot of name changes too over the years.
Yeah.
It wasn't like historic Champagne Room the whole time. That Champagne Room was 20 years. But then before then there was a lot. And was the bar was it 66 or was it later that it started? Because they had said it was like a mobster hangout in the 80s. And if you're talking about that, you're talking that's when the mob was kind of coming down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like Gotti era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a couple of others. Gotti, Manna, all them. Don't ask me why.
I mean,
Because you're from the East Coast?
oh yeah, that's probably
kidding.
why.
it seemed like
somebody's nephew.
maybe it seemed like such a anyway. But why I loved the episode, because again, he didn't have a lot to work with. Because even when he beat up the guy, John beat the guy up. He was, I don't know, he just wasn't a very emotional guy. He's like, oh, that really makes me feel bad the way he yells at me. It was just, you know what I mean? It did, but we see the bartenders come around. But I guess we should just probably go to the reveal because it was stunning.
Oh, I loved it. I loved the outfits that they chose for
Yep.
everybody. The outfits were on par. And the champagne, the circle, the decal was really, that's where you would take your picture.
Yeah.
So cool.
Again, another bar rescue first, a social media wall. Really smart. By the way, for business owners and stuff that listen to this, what a great idea for whatever business you have. But especially to come up with some, a social media wall is genius because your people are going to take pictures and social them out and, extend your brand. So that was really smart. I was grateful he kept the wallpaper.
Yes.
Because it had character. I
thought it brought the place out.
Yes.
And and it still was a throwback to it from the 60s to a different time.
All it needed was John brought in vintage chairs and had them reupholstered. I know the booths were great. And then the accents he put on the wall, just a gold, just with the sconces, he took a black, it just looked like a black board and put a gold frame around it. I never even thought of that, but now it added layers, but it wasn't just all wallpaper. It really broke it up in the best possible way. And then of course, redoing the bar and it really felt like, I mean, I say that every week because every week I have a favorite renovation, but I so would love to go to that bar.
No, I felt the same way once I was watching. I was like, this is a place I would actually travel to go and have a
Right, to
drink
go see
there.
it. We'll have to keep it in mind for when we're in Vegas. The and there's the and the black screen with this is great because they end up, it's a happy ending. You know,
Yeah.
he gave us a video.
That one.
I think he gave us a video one, which you always usually know is a good thing.
Well, this is one where he brings his mom in too after the renovations are done, and so that's the first time you really see any emotion out of him, though.
Right, when the mother
comes in.
But the reviews on Bar Rescue updates were much more positive than negative. In fact, there was only one or two negative ones, and the negative ones were inconsequential. Also, just giving a shout out, I know in the other weeks we've mentioned the only criticisms I've ever had with some of the signs have been a little soft, and I think that's because they only have a few days to make them, and then they're dealing sometimes with these landlords or mini malls, or the towns have ordinances that don't allow you to put up whatever kind of sign you want. You can be extremely limited, but I loved the sign.
Oh, it was
right.
I agree.
You know, they spent some money on that, and big neon sign, perfect. But yeah, it seems like all's well at Champagne's Cafe. You know, all is well. This is next time we're in Vegas, we have to check this out. You know,
I would like. Yeah, definitely. This is definitely one that I'm kind of excited about.
It's like me going to the Liberace house last time I was in Vegas.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. So we talked my way past the construction workers, and it was.
It's gotta be amazing.
It was amazing. I tell the story a lot, and I won't say it, go into detail here, but the house was so. It's pretty much around the corner from Hard Rock Cafe. The neighborhood's gone downhill, but you're still close to Hard Rock. Mm-hmm. And here's this multi-million-dollar estate at one point was now down to, I think, $350,000 is what it ended up going for.
That's crazy.
And I remember trying to, talk to Maria, and I talked to some of my friends about pitching in to do it and buy it. And I actually talked to John Taffer about it. And he was like, I'm in. He's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Of course it's a great idea. Well, what you would do is first of all, you'd buy it for all your friends, number one. Number two, now any of your friends go to Vegas, they just can go stay there. Yeah. But even for business, it's a write-off because think of clients. You want to go to Vegas? Trust me, go to the Liberace house. I mean, there were murals of his picture.
Wow.
He hired a descendant of Michelangelo to paint a replica of the Sistine Chapel in his bedroom.
That's insane.
And instead of St. Peter, it's his face.
No.
And it's still there. And the guy showed me a receipt and he spent something like $900,000 commissioning this artist to paint this.
So who has this house now?
It was a wealthy guy who was like,
Tell
what?
me they redid everything.
No. Here's the thing. It's not in a nice enough neighborhood where you would not want to redo everything. It's the only thing to do with this is to bring it back to what it was, because it literally looks like a middle class neighborhood. It makes no sense. But remember, he probably built it 30, 40, maybe even longer, when there was probably nothing around. And but the other thing is, it was the stuff inside was pretty easy. He loved mirrors, so there was lots of mirrors, so that doesn't cost much. I mean, it was just when we saw it was just yet another thing that Maria stopped me on and was just like, I know I'm stupid. And so when we get there, this is what we found too. Like, well, the guy's like, well, when I bought it, his museum, which he died with like $170 million. And whoever ran the museum in the estate scammed and pissed it away.
Oh my goodness.
It's all gone. So they used to have a Liberace museum in Vegas, and it housed all his furs, his pianos, his cars, everything. Now they have nowhere. There's nowhere to put the stuff because they've run out of money. They call the new buyer and go, do you mind if we just give the stuff to you and you guys just keep it in the house? And, maybe like 2 weeks a year we can have fans come and see it. And I'm just looking at Maria, and she's like, and I was with my friend who is another one of my mentors who's like supremely successful. And he was in, but then he was like, oh my God, I was just in because I thought it'd be a hoot. And he was like, wait, we would have.
You guys would have made your
like,
money back in just one of those
he's
weeks.
He's like, for 350. Steve, will you shut the fuck up? Whose fucking network is this? My God, you don't think I'm off topic? I love you, Steven, but really, come on.
I was patched
I'm
out so
talking
nobody
about
can hear me.
John Taffer lives in Vegas. John Taffer was involved with this deal. Believe me, I'm not far off. I'm telling a pretty cool fucking story. Jesus. So, anyway,
Getting real.
so we go over to. So my friend goes, we would have. So for $350,000, we not only would have gotten this house, which would have been a total write-off, which would have been great for our clients and people, and just a lot of hoot and fun. He's like, but we would have essentially been purchasing the intellectual property rights to Liberace because you would have gotten all this stuff. And then his brain, because he's a high level businessman, he was like, okay, we're gonna turn it into a museum. We're gonna everything's gonna be a write-off. We're gonna host like wine and cheese events here. Like it's gonna, and then because he had a ballroom, you could put all the collectibles in the ballroom and then like vault the doors so it's super secure.
Yeah.
So when you had it was like, again, you can thank your friend Maria for just yeah, just like, and by the way, it's Liberace. It's not, you're gonna have lots of stars come and go, but those one name stars that you just know. There's not
never
many
gonna
of
be
them.
another like him
No.
ever again.
So, okay, over to the Wheelhouse Bar, which was the title, Gab, of this one.
This was Wheels of Misfortune.
Wheels of Misfortune, and as you saw, yours truly was a consultant.
Yes, Kevin. Congrats.
Yes.
We finally got to see it.
Yes.
So exciting.
I will say this, that and John agrees, that the owner, Jesse, is the nicest bar owner in Bar Rescue history.
Wow.
Really?
I mean, it seemed like he was well loved and respected, especially with
nicest.
the result at the end.
Sweet.
Everyone came out. Everyone had good things to say about him, even if, the testing wasn't going so well.
Yeah, no, he was
People
an
normally
angel.
when they do like the test, like the test, people get angry because they're not getting drinks. No one got angry because they weren't getting a drink.
Yeah, no, it
I
was
have never seen anything.
Peaceful.
everybody was team Jess. People stopped going because they didn't really bring it up on this because also they didn't feel safe there. It was it's one of those areas in the desert that unfortunately has a big meth problem or drug. So there was so many toothless people and young people, like so many Gabbies without teeth, and you're like, that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Without,
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that compliment.
well, don't do meth.
Just kidding.
Be a good girl.
I don't do meth, Kevin.
All right. Well, I'm saying all
Never
the Gabbies
done drugs.
all the Gabbies out there. That's what they're doing. So it was, and and he didn't have the money ready to keep up, and he was so nice that he really allowed his staff to overrun him. But we've seen, like we did Bricks at we did the guy Rick from Bricks, BRIX that Maria and I did.
Oh yeah.
He was nice and friendly and sweet, but he was an entertainer. He was, he definitely had an ego. But he was a very nice guy, and he loved people. He was great. This guy loved people, was a nice guy, but he was like, it was 100% all good. There was none of it was about him. He just was just decent guy, and it was all about the community, all about coaching and helping people, and he was keeping the roller rink going because he's like, the kids, people grew up here, it's all their childhood memories. And I sidebar with John about that. I'm like, a roller rink? I'm so excited. I want to know what John Taffer do with roller rink. He's like, nothing. Go ahead, no, saying it because I'm going to explain why. Go ahead.
Like, even because we're going towards the end, but I was thinking this the whole thing because when John's like, oh, and roller rinks are going down, I was like, why can't you do derbies there? Because why can't you do like derby races or whatever they do when they smash into each
roller
other?
derby.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't because you need for roller derby you would need audience. You need stands and seating. It wasn't like that, but it was like a time capsule. I mean, you could see where back in the 60s or 70s, this place was probably bumping. But John said, Kevin, nowhere in the country is an asset. And he's like, nowhere in the country is it making money. Are they making money? He's like, I'm not a magician. he was like, I can't. So he's like, I had to tell Spike, like, no, I know as much fun as I was like, oh my God, John Tapper's going to do a roller rink. I was so excited. And he was like, no, I can't. It's like, I can't. I've got to invest the time and the resources in it because it's not going to make money. You know?
It's such a shame though, because I remember when I was a kid, we used to go to roller rinks all the time, and our favorite one was South Amboy Roller Rink. And unfortunately, South Amboy Roller Rink last winter, it snowed so much in Jersey that the roof just collapsed in it, and now it's like no more.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
It's funny. Even 7 or 8 years ago in Connecticut, there was a drive-in, and I was home there last weekend, and like just weeds all growing. Like, no, they closed a long time ago. I'm like, no, I remember it was open. It like just
Sad.
If they don't make money, there is a roller rink actually in Connecticut, and we shot Serial Buddy, Adventures of Serial Buddies. We shot there, and I think that does okay. Like, it's a family business, and they do just enough to keep it going.
Gotcha.
But it's just not. Yeah, it's too bad. And he knew he couldn't fix it, so he's like, no, I'm not even going to bother with it.
Well, okay, so you know how he was kind of not about the drinking and roller skating idea because people get hurt? I thought it may be a cool idea to put a faux bar in the middle of the roller rink and maybe do like virgin drinks or something. I don't know. It might be cute.
It would be, but again, what he was saying is, it is a great idea. But the thing is, he's saying, I can't put anything into it because no one wants to. You know, you'd be asking John to basically
Renovate something that people don't use.
Yeah, and really, he'd have to create an entire new brand and wave across the country to get people back into it. And I think if I said to John, listen, you've got 6 months to get people back into roller skating, he probably could figure it out, but he's there 4 days, you know. And so anyway, so he was like, listen, we're just going to leave. But it was one thing they didn't show. I'm surprised the editors didn't use it. There was a guy in a cowboy hat.
Oh, I saw him in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was out there all alone. I remember walking in. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Like, here's my wackadoodle. I was so excited. There was just a guy in a cowboy hat and a full like cowboy outfit. And he was an amazing roller skater. And he was just out there alone. Like, no.
Did you talk to him?
No, because normally I would have, but he was out there, and I can't roller skate.
Well, they
so.
asked you to do market research, Kevin.
I know,
He's in the market.
But no, he's not, because he's out there alone, and I don't think you want to sell to him, unfortunately.
You want to get him over to the bar, though?
Yeah, maybe, but again, I could see his deal. He was all about being on roller skates. Like, that's where he felt
zone.
at one. Yeah. And again, like, I don't want someone roller skating through.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Since you're going in there and doing your thing, I mean, obviously they did not want you to have pizza.
No.
Number one. Pizza was, even if you wanted it, no matter how many times you asked, you were not getting it. But did they figure out that you were part of that before?
No, because...
So even with all the questions you were
I was
asking,
thinking the same thing, that someone was going to be onto it.
No, because if you notice, I'm dressed like I always dress, the black t-shirt and the black hat, but everyone was kind of dressed that way there.
Oh, okay.
So, and the bar was kind of crowded because it was done on a weekend, but very young dregs. And the girls weren't it was local girls who were just over it. Like, they were cliquey with the people they knew, but they weren't very nice. And I know it seems like cliche, and I know it seems like just television, but once again, something John taught me, landmark firing. You know, you get someone like Gabby, and you fire Gabby off of this panel, and then all of a sudden Dorinda now starts being better. But
Kevin, are you trying to tell me something here?
I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying, if you
Kevin's
if you did your meth, your teeth would fall out.
Luckily, I have my pearly whites.
But I'm telling you, the one girl that was there was
Ashley,
such a bee.
They were all bees, actually.
They were. This is where I'm getting at. They were. And John was like, he knew, Like that, she was the worst. And by the way, as soon as she drives out in her Mercedes, Maria, my fiance, Maria goes, yeah, like she wasn't putting money in her pocket.
Yeah, I put that in my notes.
Oh, there's two things I
Nice
noticed.
white
Go ahead.
Mercedes.
Two things I noticed when she got fired. She just took her tip bucket
Yep.
and just threw it in the
Everybody's
purse,
tips.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
And nobody stopped her.
nobody stopped her. Nobody
Nope.
said anything. And then she gets into a brand new Mercedes. This guy is so far behind. The median is
The income.
27,000.
And then poverty levels 22, they said in the episode.
Yeah, and you're riding away in a brand new
Oh, I
Mercedes.
thought the same thing.
Which you
Now-
probably pay cash for.
Now, by the way, her boyfriend, you could see him in the background. He also had a darker beard. Was another very nice guy. And Jesse had mentored him and gotten him away from bad things in life.
So this is Ashley's boyfriend, the girl who got
Yes.
fired.
And what I liked about the boyfriend, he was like, he was even like, hey, if that's what Jess wants to do, he didn't like try to stick up for his girlfriend or whatever. He's like, it was just interesting. But so you're right, everyone was bitchy. And the night they got rid of her, it was like mutiny, screw you, Jess, blah, blah,
Stephanie,
blah.
Right? With
Yes.
the blonde, she was.
Yeah.
When she started yelling at him after.
Danielle.
Yes.
Was it Danielle, the one who
The
started,
short hair.
Yeah, the short hair, who started yelling at Jesse and like, how would you do? I'm like, wouldn't this be the moment that you would just shut your mouth?
Nope. Because that was the virus, the fungus that was running through that place. No, but guys, listen, as you guys become adults and you get older and you run your own businesses, you'll see that it just takes all these stupid cliche like phrases you hear, one bad apple will spoil a bunch. It's why people say it, because it's true, like it's fucking true. Because I will tell, back to the roller rink. When I was making my Adventures Serial Buddies, we were shooting a couple days at a roller rink, and I had one bad apple who was quite just like that one, fun and popular, like but spreading what I call false positivity, which is, Gabby, I know having to do the after show for Bar Rescue sucks, but let's just make the best of it. That's called false positivity. And you see people will do this behind the scenes, and other people don't realize that they're actually negative and they're cancers. They think that they're cool or they're nice or supportive or whatever, and they're not. And so when this one person was removed off my set, literally the minute this person was off the set and in a car and off to the airport, you just saw everyone's personality like that change. And once this girl was fired, by the next morning, that same girl, Danielle, was like you, Gabby. She was a different person. She was fun. She was like crying, I'm guilty, I'm so sorry. And how do we fit? And then by the time that they got the uniforms, they were empowered. It's just, again, there's another thing. If you're an owner or you want to start your own business, guys, and if you have if you have a crew that's all negative, whatever, you might have to wipe them all out. But you can find anyone who would take the tips like that and dump everyone's tips into their thing is an alpha personality who's the boss. Like that was the head of the snake. You cut the fucking head of the snake off and watch what happens. And it was like, John, once again, I said to him, I go, John, the day two, I go, this is unbelievable what you've done with these. I go, and I'm seeing it. And I said, and what you taught me about landmark firing is so right.
You know what I would have loved to see when they do like the 6 weeks later thing and show the progress, if they, what happened with Ashley. I would have loved to know.
Sometimes they do, but it's like,
did they rehire her,
I feel like she didn't get rehired.
Just because they were so close, and I mean, I know you're saying this isn't personal, it's business, but we are very close. I would love to know, like, what happened to them afterwards.
She went to another bar to steal. The end.
You think you didn't bring her back, though?
I don't think so. I hope not. I don't know, because maybe they would have said something. I'm sure we could find out if we do some due diligence.
Let's look into
He
it.
was so nice, the guy, and it was just, I was just like, get out of here. It was such a pleasure to see her thrown out, and I felt for every owner or manager that's had to deal with that, get the fuck out.
Do you do that here, Kevin? Just curious.
I haven't had to. No, wait a second. I haven't had to. I have not had to, because I now am a little further along than he is, the owner, Justice, in his journey. So when you put your teams together, you're thinking ahead, is this going to be the head of the snake? And you just have to interview them in a way where you go, okay, no.
Because, I mean, you're technically a boss, even though it's not for a bar. You're still dealing with a lot of personalities.
It doesn't matter if it's insurance company. You're gonna, if you have people like that, you get them out. And I don't care how valuable they seem to be or how, like, you know, and you see a lot of these dysfunctional friendships that we see on Bar Rescue that form. And you can tell when they have to yell at them and they're like, listen, I don't want to have to do this. Like, you know, you have to think of the business first. And by the way, it's also good for everyone else, because that false positivity, it's just a drug that's being administered to the other staff. And as you know, with drugs, like, there's not a happy ending with drugs. You feel good in the moment and then you crash and then you feel a lot worse than you already felt. So those people, even if you think they're bringing positivity, they're not. She was bringing nothing but negativity to the staff. Nothing. You know, now when people are being forced to work hard but are empowered to succeed, they feel better. You know, rather than, okay, let's have a shitty bar and let's all drink behind the bar and whatever. And they're not happy. You're not happy that way. You're happy when you're part of, like, a winning team and a winning formula and you feel good about yourself. And by the way, a shout out to Waitressville, that company.
Oh, yeah.
I'm having a brain freeze because I text with this girl a lot. The beautiful African-American lady who designed the uniforms.
Oh, I put it down.
She's a former professional cheerleader. You guys would love her. She started.
Tara Saunders.
Yeah, so typical John, like, finds this lady who.
And she has what I thought was brilliant is she has a niche market.
Yes.
It is. Up until last night, I had no idea that there was someone who actually
she's the only one.
specializes in doing that.
And branding. And so,
Brilliant.
yeah, and branding.
Brilliant.
And she's like, I can pretty much fix any brand. She's like, but specifically, like the restaurant and, you know, coming up with these really cool uniforms, concepts, and packaging for staffs. And she was so positive, and she was all about, no, there's no resting bitch face here. And because you have an hour show, so they cut out a lot, obviously, to make the thing work. And I'm grateful that I was in it as much as I was. By the way, Maria was just, like, so proud. But at the same time, as she was saying for Waitress, some of her takeaway was amazing too, when she was telling the women, even posture, how to stand, how to present themselves. It was great. It was just interesting. But again, like, when you're like the other girl, you're one of these big, bossy, bratty, self-centered bitches. It's like, you know, by the way, guys or girls can be like that. It's like, no, it's a team. So how can you have a good team when you have that? Out. So out she goes. It's just typical John. And all of a sudden now watch things just start happening. Things start getting better. It was hard because the kitchen is a good, I don't know if you saw, like, there's a weird hallway, but you can see all these little, like, candy machines and things like that, because the roller rink.
They said it was far, though. The kitchen was far.
It's far. It was.
Wasn't it like 172
it was
feet
far
or something? Yeah.
But there was really nowhere else you could put it because of just the logistics of the building. But
I've worked in places where the kitchen was so far from certain parts of the restaurant.
It's hard.
It's hard, but that's the only place you can put it.
I don't want to keep going backwards, but just even that girl's attitude, like, I'm not doing this. Fuck that. Nah, I'm not a cook, and I'm not this.
So they literally lied to you and told you the kitchen was closed so that they wouldn't deliver your pizza?
Yeah. It wasn't. Well, listen, no. See,
Did
again,
you ever eat?
A pretzel, Kevin. They gave you a pretzel.
You're being a millennial. And you think, like, they weren't like, oh, we're going to fix this guy. It wasn't about me.
The kitchen's always closed, first of all. There's nobody in the kitchen.
It wasn't because
there was no cook.
They just didn't want to do the work. They didn't want to do extra work.
That's so damn funny, though, that there was actually no cook. They rehired their old cook, and she told you the kitchen was closed, but there's never anybody
in the kitchen. You guys are going to love this. We went to a 99 restaurant. It's a chain back east this week, and Maria goes, John Taffer would be violent if he knew what we saw. So we went into the place and they said, oh, our computers are down. So I said, so we're not doing any business. I was like,
whoa, what? Oh my God, that's so funny.
And you could see the millennial with the big grin. Like, she was just like, this is going to be awesome. We're not going to have to work tonight. I'm like, this is somebody's franchise. Like, this tens of thousands of dollars that just like, wait,
All they
so
have to say is cash.
cash only.
Yeah.
If you have cash, we can handle it. Nope.
Figure it
Computers are down
out.
with the big grin. And Maria's like, are you serious? She's like, yep. And then the mediocre middle manager, again, like, you know, he's right behind her going like, yeah. And
what goes to my head,
Yeah.
the first thing I was like, you're happy with that $2.13
Oh,
an
see,
hour
you
that
should-
you're
right,
making? Like,
right.
you're excited about that.
Yeah, that-
And by the way, taxes could take it out of that. So it's like $1.
well, but even for them, they're excited because they're getting the same pay, right? The door person or whatever, the hostess and the manager. So they're probably like, whatever. But Maria's like, John would, imagine if John were here, he would go crazy. But yeah, that's okay. What did you guys think? So I know with John, we haven't behaved on this one. We jumped around a lot.
Sorry.
What did you think about the actual renovation?
I liked it. Not one of my favorites.
By the way, not one of John's either.
No.
Do you know that?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes.
Really? Okay. All right. At
Yep.
least we're on the same page. It's not one of my favorites.
Yeah, and John, like, and it sucks because John lost when he got in there, and he was like, "Wait, what was this? What was that? It wasn't executed well." I don't want to give out too much inside information, but there's one girl who is a rock star that John trained from the beginning, and I always forget her name, but she's the one who with John. You know, and it took John a while to get her there, but it's like, you know, imagine if you have John training you, like, imagine that, like, how great you're going to be. Like, so he's made her such a rock star, but she went on maternity leave. So then it was, you know, now all of a sudden John would give the vision and say, okay, execute. And John was like, do you know, this is the one time, like, he's like, it's in Palm Springs, so it's near my house, so I thought I could actually go and drive and see my family for a day, you know. And sure enough, he came back and he was like, wait, where's this, where's this, where's this, where's that, where's this, where's this, where's that? Oh, and it's right before we have to shoot, so he there's nothing you can do to fix it. He couldn't get any more upset because he had to do the rest of the show, and he felt so guilty and so bad. And I'm like, John, it looks amazing. It does look, and by the way, they were thrilled. They were crying and hugging each other because John's so good that it did look great, but it was not his. It was not his favorite. He felt and he felt really bad. You know?
Was there things he left out, you know, for the actual reveal that he wasn't able to finish or complete?
It was just stuff that didn't get done, period.
Like
You
that
know.
he wanted to have done. and
Yeah,
just
that he
never
was like,
happened.
and like, again, literally just left for a day. But the other girl he's trained, he's used to, like, okay, if he has to pop out for a couple hours, he can do it. And he was, you know, and he's like, never again. He's like, I have to just be here 24/7. But yeah, and again, the guy's like, he's not a baby. You mean age-wise, you know? It's like, that's why I get worried, because he goes in, he's yelling, his blood pressure's going up, he's dealing with knuckleheads who are fighting with him. So then you have to deal with that, and then after, you know, then there's the physical. It's a real grind. It's a 5-day, like, it beats the crap out of you.
Although it wasn't the most interesting renovation, I will say I did really like it. I think obviously Jesse was deserving, and I liked it. Did they insert the pool tables? Because those were not there before, I think, when they did the before and after. In the one section, they had pool tables. I don't know.
I think there were pool tables, but they weren't. They created with the barn board. They put up they dressed the area, like John's, to make it, because before it was so bad.
Yeah, well, it seemed like they added that, but maybe not.
And John gave them a great lighting system.
Yeah,
that you don't get to see, you know, like he all that stuff that you didn't really get to see powered on.
He changed around. He gave them new bar supplies, which obviously is great for the bartenders. I liked how he kept the historic photos to, like, keep the flavor and the history.
It does.
What
It feel
was.
and by the way, it was all John. The name Derby's, which was genius, you know. So it was genius brand, and what made John sad was that, Kevin, this is out of all of them, this is one of the ones that's closer to being a franchise. He's like, I could turn this into a franchise so fast for this guy. And so that's why he was, and he's like, and because he was so nice. I'm like, John, you killed it. You don't have to feel bad for anything. And the guy was so grateful. And by the way, the reviews coming in, like, people really love it.
I like the penalty box.
Penalty box was great.
Yeah, I like the penalty box.
And there was a stage too, by the way, and they didn't feature it, but there's a stage where there's some bands or stand-up comedy or whatever, and that they got that squared away too.
And something I also like that he did, which I think he does it a little bit with everybody else, the branding part, he created table tents that he put out on every table with all the specials on the menu and everything. And I really like that because obviously it's really necessary to have those in bars. We work with them all the time when we go to
So I never heard that. What is a table tent?
So a table tent, it's like in the shape of a triangular tent.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And it's laid out on a table or on a bar, and it will list out like the menu, but it's small. Just a little like paper thing you put out, so you can put out specials or anything you want to promote, that you want people to like buy or check out.
Or like when you go to a Chili's and they have the flip over.
That's even like a promotional
okay, just talking more bar. Stephen Lemieux, don't get mad at me because this is Bar Rescue. But Chili's, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but now they have computers at their tables.
And you order?
And you can order. Stephen Lemieux, by the way, runs Popcorn Talk Network. I met him at a Chili's, and that's how I hired him.
I remember you telling me that story years ago.
Yeah, and now he's a big shot.
Because we actually ate at a Chili's after that.
That's right.
I think that's when you said that story.
So I don't know if Stephen's still engineering the show. Stephen, have you seen at Chili's now they have at the booths they have
they have Zosks
that you can order and pay. And so someone like me who does just my time, I'm so busy, I want to get in and get out.
Yeah.
I love it.
What about for takeout?
You can put the tip or whatever. No, they're not for takeout.
They're not for takeout, but it's like if the bartender's busy, you can just pay and do your whole thing at the Zosk.
Oh, you
Stephen,
pay
what
too?
are the staff members thinking about it? Do you still keep in touch with anyone over there?
I talked to a few of them right after they introduced them, and they were kind of annoyed with them because they aren't the best at doing any alterations. So if you want food that's like different in any sort of way, like people will order food and then not get it the way they want it and then complain to the waiter, and then you get a lot of dead food sent back, so they had to change a lot of things. I don't know. The waiters have it lowers their tips because the people don't feel like they owe the waiters as much now.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah.
So robots are taking over.
Kind of, but I mean, in LA, waiters make $10 an hour, make minimum wage, so it's not as drastic as if somewhere in like North Carolina where you make $2 an hour and depend on tips.
Yeah, that's where the whole problem is, though.
But it's up to us as a consumer. I mean, I don't know. Maria gets mad at me because I always overtip, and I overtip bad staff. I don't know why, but I do. Anyway.
It's also people think they rang something in on the Zosk, but they didn't, and then they complain to the waiter that they ordered something, but they hadn't yet. They just thought they did. So then the waiter thinks that
they get to actually know what it's like.
Right? No, I think it's a good innovation. I mean, I think it's going to definitely evolve over time. Mm-hmm. But whether it should replace people, I don't think it should. I think you still need that connection in the restaurant.
Well, do you still have the option to do both? Like you can choose between the Zosk or Zeus?
I'd rather have a person.
Yes and no. Yeah. Like, I just wanted to pay my bill and leave, but then they're like, oh, you have to pay it through this thing that's completely mundane and hard to use.
That stinks.
Yeah, so.
Thank you, Stephen Lemieux. Okay, and so we when we do the epilogue, we find out that they're making a lot of money. I mean.
Oh, yes. So, do you mean the recap 6 weeks later? We have drink sales up 60%, food sales up 75%, which is even higher. I assume that's maybe because the people in the roller rink or skate rink are just ordering food there instead of drinks, and that's why it's 75.
Right.
But the bartenders aren't drinking, and the roller rink is still open.
I want to shout out.
He wasn't going to close that.
Yeah. Shout out for the kitchen too. Well, he wants to keep it open for the community. It's like a historical landmark. But we want to mention the food. John said, Kevin, we need sandwiches that are small and easy to grab, easy to make, and he said, and great price point. And so they made it was like these $5 sandwiches, and you heard one of the patrons say, this is the best chicken sandwich I've ever had. It was so the food, the menu they created was so good.
The chef and the bartender they had.
Gabby knows names.
Michael Ferraro was the chef, and Sean Ford was the mixologist.
And Sean Ford got a commercial. Do you see? You probably did.
Oh
watch the
yes, I
commercial.
saw the commercial.
He got
yes.
a commercial. He got like a.
I fast forwarded
He
it.
did like okay. No, I understand.
It's the privileges of DVR.
And the chef, but Ferraro, he did a nice job. I want to make a mention too because when I was talking to John, he said no, it has to be something that the people don't have a lot of money here, so we've got to keep it in the $5 range.
Yeah,
He
and
was
he
like,
because he thought about the price point, and
Yeah.
even with the drinks, he did the same thing too. Everything stayed within a price point because of what the median salary was.
right, it's kind of cool, and people were. It was great talk when went table to table, and they all loved Jess, but they said, we're going to come back.
What did they say about that blueberry drink? The drink with the blueberry and then the soda cream.
I mean, I think for these
It was
people,
the orange teas, I think.
I think it's probably a little ritzy for these people.
It just looks so good.
It
I
did,
saw it.
no,
I was
it did,
like,
it
oh my
did,
god, I would
it did.
totally order that drink.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I don't know. I'm not a cream soda fan.
Oh, it was the black and blue. That's what it was
I'm
called.
a huge cream soda fan.
Black and
Not
blue.
that anyone cares.
You are, you're not.
I am. I love cream soda.
I love blueberry, so
No, blueberries.
me
I
and you,
love.
right?
we make a good pair.
Okay, you guys. Wait, now, so what'd you find out? We have only one more bar rescue, and then we're going on hiatus.
To September 18th.
I'm trying to understand how this all works.
Okay. By the way,
There's no formula.
I told John. I said I'm
So
actually gonna
confusing.
tell my agent I want to pitch a show to Spike, not to sell, just to get in the room with them and say, what the fuck with Bar Rescue? You market it, you know what I mean? Like it's your number one show,
Yeah.
but I don't understand the philosophy of throwing them on there, new ones on. We don't really know. There's not, not a promo. I mean,
promo.
by the way, they probably even. I mean, one of their explanations might be to give the illusion that it's always on and it's always new, and maybe that's what it is. Rather than we did season 1, and we went our 10 weeks like Game of Thrones or whatever. You know what I mean?
But
And then
this is where I'm getting confused, Kevin.
I
We did, I mean, when I started with you, we did a bunch. We were like in episode 52 or something. Then there was a hiatus for a while. Then Dorinda came on with us and we were back. And we're literally back on at, okay, so now we're at season 5, episode 2.
Well, by the way, okay, so the whole
On Google
okay, so
Play,
the whole
it's season 7,
Well-
episode 7 or
well,
something.
I think the whole deceptive thing is they've done is that their quote they've had seasons go as many as 40 or 50 episodes, which is unheard of. 50 episodes. I mean, a standard network is usually 22 weeks.
Right.
And then cable can be anywhere from 6 to 12, as we know. Sometimes maybe 13, 14. Yeah. But
That's confusing also.
but I think with this, they have a winter show, and they've made over 100 and something episodes. I mean, like Full House, I think just barely hit 100 episodes. We're in like 100 and something.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's crazy. But I think it's just what happens when it's a moneymaker. They just want to crank them out.
It still doesn't make sense though, because now we're, like I said, it's episode 2 and we're going on a hiatus.
I know,
Episode
but
2.
I think what they do, but the highest is really till the 18th, so it's like 2 or 3 weeks. So I think what they're
It's just so weird.
they're trying to give you the illusion that it's always a new Bar Rescue because it's so valuable to them. It's like what you always have a housewife show going on Bravo, right?
Yeah.
Right? They've made it. It's pretty genius. It's like Orange County's gone. We've got Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is gone. We have Atlanta. So I think it's like that, and again, it's just too much on John. Number one, and number two, it's like if you are going to do that, it just frustrates us, like the super fan, because I want to know when there's going to be a new episode. Like
Yeah, and I mean, hiatus is fine, but it's like, why would you stop it in the second episode in? Like, why wouldn't you do
Right,
8 and then go on hiatus?
Well, because I think because then it's like people may stop watching Spike and say, okay, we're out. Whereas with you if we lose you for 2 or 3 weeks, Gab, or 3 or 4 weeks, it's okay. We'll keep you. It's like tease. We just keep you kind of hooked to Spike, and then you hope that the Ink Show and the other like fakaktai
Without
shows
the
they have
promotions.
will launch because of Bar Rescue. By the way, a lot of people don't realize the value of Seinfeld back in the day. A novice would think the value was just, okay, Seinfeld on at 9 o'clock. No, the value was the 8 o'clock hour. The value Seinfeld brought was what it brought to the 8 o'clock hour, what it brought to the 10 o'clock hour, because for the lead in and the follow, for the lead in and for the, for the after show, which became Friends, which became even bigger for them. But that's why Seinfeld was far more valuable than just that 1 hour. And this show, because they repeat it, is far more valuable than that 1 hour. You know, think about all Saturdays and Sundays, they're repeating the hell out of this.
And so many people love John Taffer.
He's amazing. He's a star.
He is
He's
so
a star.
good. I'm going to tell you, not just from this show, but just from talking to John and watching from the show, I take it into real life. And like the no more excuses. When I start hearing people use excuses,
I don't embrace excuses. I embrace what?
Answers.
Solutions.
Same thing.
Fucking Gabby.
Whatever.
And I kind of like just either close up or I'm like, those are excuses. Find a real reason.
Right.
And that's just the way
I've said this many times, but the first couple of years it was on, it was mandatory viewing for the whole staff at AfterBuzz, just to learn about the bit. Don't laugh, Gabby.
I'm laughing at what we were just talking about. Sorry.
What?
I'm replaying it in my head.
Gabby, are you learning anything from watching the show?
I learn things every day, Kevin.
Oh God. So meaning
if you stop learning, then you stop living.
That's so true. So
Gabby.
true.
Kill me. I hope you're learning from this
Guru
show.
Gab.
I hope you're learning from this show, Gabby.
I'm learning a lot.
Okay, good.
But
That's
I
what
also
wanna
work in
hear.
this too, but in a
Okay,
different
but you're seeing
format,
this.
you know?
This is the Picasso. This is the Michelangelo of this
Yeah.
world. All right, where do we find you?
Do you want to know?
Yes.
You guys can find me at Gabby.Loren on Instagram and Gabrielle Loren on Periscope.
You can find me on Twitter at Lula Cherry Films and on Instagram at Dorinda B #1. Well, Dorinda B1.
Dorinda B1. At Undergaro, and I thought Periscope was dead.
What? I have 20,000 followers on Periscope.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
wait.
saying.
I know, but I thought they were going out of business. It was going down.
I don't know. I think they are going down, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think the company's going down. Facebook
But Twitter
Live.
owns Periscope.
Facebook Live. Yeah, but they.
And then my app coming out soon that I work for. It's a live stream app. VidChat. VidChat.
Do you think that'll be the next one?
I really hope so. We're doing a really good job, and it's for a good cause, charity. So, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay, you guys, we'll be back next week. Then we'll be on hiatus. Then we'll be back again. Anyway, you guys, peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.